Have you ever been told you don't look your age and just smiled it off? What if it wasn't just luck or good genes, but something deeper? What if your youthful appearance is actually a sign of spiritual alignment? A reflection of how lightly you carry pain, how deeply you love, and how fully your soul stays connected to purpose. You see, true youth isn't just skin deep, it's energy. And sometimes that energy speaks louder than age ever could. In this video, we're uncovering 9 spiritual reasons why time seems to leave certain people untouched, and why it might be happening to you. If you've ever felt different, more peaceful, more emotionally free than others around you, this is your sign. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's uncover the deeper truth behind your timeless glow.
Number 1.
Old soul wisdom. There is a reason certain faces feel like calm seas at dawn. They have sailed many emotional miles long before this decade arrived. Marcus Aurelius called that steadiness standing upright without support, the quiet authority that flows from governing oneself. When you carry that serenity, time loses its grip. You are not racing the clock, you are guiding it. First of all, think of Keanu Reeves. The calendar swears he is over 50, yet audiences still sense the effortless ease of Neo in his eyes. Reeves does not chase youth. He cultivates perspective. He spends hours reading philosophy, riding the subway, and quietly giving away wealth. Likewise, the Stoics taught that when a person abandons pointless status games, the spirit lightens and the body follows. Seneca reminded us, "It is not that we have little time, but that we waste much." Consequently, an old soul refuses to lend his tranquility to events he cannot steer. His equanimity becomes an invisible sunscreen, shielding every cell from premature decay. But then, what exactly makes this inner maturity show up as outer youth? To begin with, old souls have mastered emotional recycling. They take the friction of daily life, convert it into reflection, and release it as clarity. Therefore, cortisol, the chemical sculptor of wrinkles, has fewer chances to carve its signature. Moreover, because they no longer hunt for validation in every room, their facial muscles rest, micro-expressions of anxiety disappear, and the gaze softens. You can almost hear Epictetus whisper, "Remember, it is not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things." And that single insight smooths the brow long before any cream can. Furthermore, this settled energy frees metabolic resources, allowing the body to repair instead of fight imaginary battles. And very soon after you adopt this posture, the environment responds. Friends speak more gently around you. Strangers mirror your relaxed breathing. In other words, the world returns the energy you broadcast, multiplying it like sunlight through clear water. With each passing second, that feedback loop reinforces calm, which in turn preserves the skin, the heartbeat, and the bright spark behind the eyes. Importantly, being an old soul is not about accumulating years. It is about refining attention. You notice dew on a leaf, the tremor in a loved one's voice, the silent invitation of a sunrise. Undoubtedly, those moments expand perceived time, allowing you to live wider even if you live no longer. And in that spaciousness, youth lingers, not as a cosmetic trick, but as the natural reward of inner economy. Finally, remember this: youth fades when the mind clings, yet endures when the mind flows. Each night, write down one irritant, breathe it out, and rest. Do this, and tomorrow will greet you with the face of freedom.
Number 2.
You are aligned with nature's rhythm. Have you ever wondered why certain people glide through crowded streets as if they were strolling beside a river at dawn? They breathe deeper, blink slower, and carry a stillness that feels almost ancient. This serenity is not coincidence. It is coherence, the invisible harmony that appears when your inner world mirrors the elegance of the natural world. The Stoics devoted themselves to that harmony. Marcus Aurelius wrote that whenever the palace noise clouded his judgment, He would walk outside and bathe in the breeze that blows from the universe. Suddenly, the petty resentments of court life shrank to dust motes. In the same way, when you step among cedars or stare at a midnight sky, your nervous system remembers its original settings. Your pulse matches the wind. Your breath copies the tide. Stress hormones recede before you finish a single mindful exhale. Moreover, everything in nature does precisely what it was designed to do, without complaint, without hurry. The oak stretches upward. The brook hurries downward. The sparrow sings before thinking. Likewise, the Stoic acts according to reason and virtue, not the marketplace's panic, Seneca advised. Withdraw into yourself as often as possible. He was not prescribing escapism. He was prescribing calibration. When you calibrate to nature, wrinkles soften, shoulders drop, and the quiet light around your face intensifies. Consider Alan Watts. Photographs show that even in his 70s, his eyes danced like a mischievous child. Years spent sailing, gardening, and lecturing under open skies preserved a playful glow no serum could replicate. Or look at Thich Nhat Hanh, slowly walking among lotus ponds, each step synchronized with a silent half-smile. The calendars called him elderly. Onlookers saw timelessness. Furthermore, modern research merely confirms what the ancients trusted. 10 minutes of forest bathing can cut cortisol by 30%. Morning sunlight anchors circadian rhythms, improving collagen repair overnight. Even recorded birdsong lowers blood pressure in clinical settings. Yet to the Stoic ear, these findings only echo an older melody. Live in agreement with nature, and nature will agree with you. Consequently, people who rise with the sun, rest when darkness falls, and eat foods grown in the current season give their cells the information they evolved to expect. Feeling safe, the body chooses restoration over defense. It polishes rather than deteriorates. So if you feel most alive by the sea, among pines, or beneath a blanket of stars, honor that pull. It is your biology remembering its first language, and that language keeps you young. Finally, test it tonight. Open a window, let the evening breeze touch your face, and notice how quickly your mood softens. Repeat that simple ritual and watch how the mirror slowly confirms what your soul already knows. Your timeline is written in light, not in numbers.
Number 3.
You transmute emotion into clarity. There is a unique glow that comes from someone who has stopped being consumed by emotion and instead begun to understand it. You've seen it before? Someone who listens more than they speak, who looks you in the eye not to challenge you, but to see you. That presence is not born of emotional avoidance, it's born of emotional mastery. The Stoics never taught suppression, they taught transformation. Seneca wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." And yet he did not cry. Why? Because he believed that emotion, like fire, can burn or warm. It depends on whether it is contained. The person who looks younger than their years is often the one who has learned how to contain the fire without putting it out. Emotional clarity doesn't mean apathy. It means being fully present with what arises, then letting it pass without clinging. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And in that strength is peace. And peace, as it turns out, gives you back your face." This will blow your mind, but emotional clarity literally slows biological aging, chronic resentment, unresolved grief, bitterness. All of these keep the nervous system in a loop of survival. And survival mode is not a place for youth. It is a place of cortisol, tight jaws, shallow sleep, and dulled energy. On the other hand, the one who processes emotion, who lets it rise, names it, and releases it, sleeps better, digests better, and yes, looks better. Let's take a real-life example. Look at Fred Rogers. Mr. Rogers wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, but his emotional wisdom radiated. He talked openly about sadness, anger, and confusion, not to vent, but to guide, and his presence felt like home. Even late in life, his face had that softness, that gentleness, that quiet clarity that only comes from years of letting the heart breathe without shame. Furthermore, Stoicism doesn't demand emotional deadness. It demands discernment. Epictetus taught that we must ask not, "How do I get rid of this feeling?" but "What is this emotion trying to teach me?" That one question shifts everything. It gives you authority over your inner world without having to deny it. And very soon after you live that way, it starts to show. The furrowed brow eases, the shoulders unhook from the ears. The mouth, no longer tight with unspoken pain, begins to smile with sincerity. You appear younger not because you're hiding pain, but because you've made peace with it. So if you've ever been called empathetic, deep, or calm, know this. It's not just your personality, it's your practice. You've learned to sit with sorrow, listen to joy, and breathe through anger. That emotional maturity doesn't just protect your peace, it protects your energy, your years, and ultimately it makes your spirit glow in ways no one can imitate.
Number 4.
Inner wisdom over impulse. Picture someone who never seems rushed, even when the world is spinning fast. While everyone else is trapped in urgent emails and frantic scrolls, this person pauses, observes, and chooses a response instead of a reaction. That pause is not laziness. It is living proof of inner wisdom, the capacity to judge what truly matters before emotion drags the body into needless battle. And when you fight fewer needless battles, your face records fewer needless lines. The Stoics saw this as the highest human art, Marcus Aurelius reminded himself. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Simple, yes, and profoundly difficult in a society that rewards speed over sense. Yet every time you stop to ask, is this worth my peace? You reclaim energy that might have been burned as stress. Consequently, the cortisol that etches worry into the skin never gets its full chance. Moreover, wisdom is efficient. It wastes no motion, no breath, no midnight hour of rumination. Seneca argued that life is long if you know how to use it. The wise therefore schedule recovery the way others schedule meetings. They protect bedtime the way others protect bank accounts. This deliberate conservation of attention frees the body to repair. Hence their eyes remain bright, their gait springy, their skin receptive to light instead of dulled by fatigue. Consider a living example, Morgan Freeman. He speaks slowly, laughs quietly, and rarely reacts to tabloid noise. Interviewers often note how present he is, how each answer feels weighed and intentional. Even at 80 plus, his posture stays open, his smile unforced. Fans call it great genetics. Freeman calls it listening. Like a Stoic, he filters stimuli, accepts what he cannot shape, and shapes what he can, his next deliberate sentence. Furthermore, wisdom converts setbacks into seminars. When a flight is delayed, the unwise fume. The wise read, stretch, reflect. This mental alchemy keeps adrenaline from flooding the bloodstream, and very soon after you practice it, the outer self mirrors the inner calm. Jaw unclenches, shoulders descend, heart rate steadies. In other words, you start wearing serenity the way others wear designer clothing, except yours never fades. Importantly, inner wisdom is teachable right now. First of all, impose a sacred pause. Inhale, count to 3, ask what virtue demands, then act. Next, close each day with Marcus's 3 questions. What good did I do? Where did I fall short? How will I improve? Finally, treat sleep as the senate of recovery. non-negotiable, guarded by silence and dim light. Above all, remember Epictetus. Circumstances don't make the man. They reveal him to himself. Let each moment reveal restraint, clarity, and purpose. Do that, and you will not merely look younger, you will look inevitable, as natural and ageless as sunrise itself.
Number 5.
You choose kindness over bitterness. There's a kind of beauty that has nothing to do with symmetry, makeup, or lighting. It's the beauty of someone who carries no grudges, who forgives quickly, and who walks through life without the weight of resentment on their shoulders. That person, no matter their age, glows. And that glow is not skin deep. It radiates from a spirit that has chosen love over bitterness again and again. The Stoics were clear about this. Resentment is poison you drink hoping someone else will suffer. It tightens the body, clouds the mind, and robs you of peace. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, holding on to anger only makes you resemble the very thing that wounded you. And over time, that resemblance etches itself into your expression, your tone, your face, your posture. On the other hand, kindness is more than a virtue, it's medicine. It lowers stress hormones, eases tension, and softens your features in ways no cream or serum ever could. But more importantly, kindness clears the path between you and your soul. When you choose it, your body doesn't armor up. It lets go, it breathes, it repairs. Consider someone like Desmond Tutu. He lived through decades of injustice, pain, and conflict. But he never let those things twist his heart. Instead, he laughed, he forgave. And that joy was visible in his entire being. Even in old age, his face looked like peace itself. Not because he was untouched by life's darkness, but because he refused to let it live inside him. Furthermore, kindness simplifies everything. You don't have to rehearse revenge or plan emotional defenses. You just live clean, and very soon after you adopt that as a way of life, your body follows suit. Your sleep deepens, your digestion improves, even the subtle energy around you begins to shift. People feel safer near you. They trust you, and that trust becomes a mirror, reflecting a lighter, freer version of yourself back to you. Importantly, this doesn't mean being soft or naive, Seneca said. A good character, when established, is not easily overthrown. In other words, kindness that comes from wisdom has strength. It knows when to walk away. It knows when to set a boundary. But it never allows bitterness to rot the spirit, because the wise know bitterness doesn't protect you. It ages you. So if you've made the conscious choice to forgive where others would hate, to release where others would cling, and to bless even those who've cursed you, know this: your peace is showing in your voice, in your eyes, and yes, even in the timeless way, your face lights up a room. Number 6, you know how to adapt. There's a certain grace in those who don't resist life, but move with it. They aren't hardened by change. They're softened by it. Their spirit flows like water around obstacles instead of breaking against them. And that flexibility, that quiet acceptance of what is, shows in their body, their energy, and the lightness they carry. According to Stoic wisdom, the only constant in life is change. Epictetus reminded his students, "Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well." And flow is the key word. Because people who flow with life age differently. They carry less tension, less resistance, and therefore less stress. Adaptability in its truest form is not passive, it's powerful. It means choosing peace over perfection. It means responding to life instead of reacting to it. It means looking at uncertainty not as a threat, but as a teacher. And when you live that way, you give your nervous system a break. You stop bracing for impact, You stop clinging to how things should have been. And in that moment, the body relaxes into presence. And very soon after, presence becomes your natural state. Let's take a real-world example. Look at Jane Goodall. For over 60 years, she adapted to jungles, governments, scientific opposition, and personal loss. Yet she continues to move with a softness and vitality that defies expectation. Her secret? She never stopped being curious, never stopped adjusting. She let each season of life shape her without letting it harden her. Furthermore, the body reflects what the mind rehearses. When you rehearse disappointment, your body tightens. When you rehearse acceptance, it opens. When you say this too, instead of why me, your face changes. The furrow disappears. The jaw loosens. The breath deepens. And suddenly you appear lighter. Not just emotionally, but physically. This is the hidden magic of the adaptable spirit. Moreover, Stoicism teaches us to be indifferent to what we cannot control, not out of carelessness, but out of wisdom, because the wise know that control is not the key to peace, clarity is, and clarity comes from adapting to the moment, not from forcing the moment to match our expectations. Importantly, adaptation does not mean passivity. It means conscious participation in reality. It means letting life teach you without letting it break you. It means saying yes to the unfolding moment, even when it doesn't look like the one you planned. So if you've learned to release control, to bend instead of break, to greet each change with calm curiosity instead of panic, you're doing more than surviving. You're preserving your peace. You're protecting your body. And without even trying, you're carrying a kind of youth that creams can't fake and time can't take. Number 7, you carry a positive and optimistic spirit. There's something quietly powerful about people who believe, genuinely believe, that life can still surprise them in beautiful ways. Even after disappointment, even after heartbreak, they don't deny reality, but they refuse to be defined by it. And that refusal, it shows on their face, in their posture, in the way they walk into a room and make everything feel just a little bit lighter. The Stoics weren't naive. They knew suffering intimately, but they also knew the mind could train itself to look for what remains instead of what was lost. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself." To the Stoic, optimism is not wishful thinking. It's disciplined perception. It's the deliberate choice to focus on possibility, not scarcity. You see, optimism isn't ignoring pain. It's believing that pain doesn't get the final word. And when you hold that belief long enough, your nervous system calms, your breath slows, your eyes soften, and your entire being begins to communicate one message. I am safe here. I am not at war with life. Let's take Maya Angelou. Her life was filled with unimaginable trials, childhood trauma, racism, injustice, and yet when she spoke, there was light in her voice, not because she ignored the darkness, but because she carried a torch through it. She chose to speak of rising, of beauty, of what was still good. And that choice didn't just elevate others, it preserved her own vitality. Her presence felt like sunlight, warm, comforting, and impossible to ignore. Moreover, science now confirms what the Stoics taught thousands of years ago. Optimism reduces inflammation, improves heart health, and strengthens immunity. But beyond biology, optimism creates a kind of spiritual gravity, an energy that magnetizes opportunities, deepens relationships, and inspires trust. And very soon after someone begins living that way, their face changes, not through procedures or products, but through perspective. Importantly, optimism isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about knowing that even when life is messy, meaning can still be made. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." In other words, it is courage, not control, that opens the way forward. The courage to smile, the courage to try again, the courage to see the best even when you've seen the worst. So if you're the kind of person who still sees magic in ordinary days, who wakes up believing that something beautiful could happen, who chooses laughter even after tears, understand this. Your mindset is medicine. It is renewing you from the inside out. And that's why, no matter what the calendar says, you don't just look younger, you feel timeless. Number 8, you carry the energy of the chosen one. Have you ever felt a subtle tug as if life itself were whispering, "There is more for you to give"? People who look younger than their years often live under that whisper. They move through crowds quietly, yet leave a trail of calm behind them. They are not seeking applause, they are answering a calling, and that sense of mission generates a vitality that creams cannot bottle and calendars cannot dim. First of all, the Stoics believed each person is a fragment of the cosmic whole. Assigned a role by nature, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whatever happens to you was prepared for you from all eternity." To accept that role wholeheartedly is to align with the current of the universe. Alignment removes friction, and when friction disappears, so does premature aging. You stop grinding against reality and start gliding with it. Moreover, having a purpose larger than personal comfort rewires the nervous system. Modern studies reveal that volunteers with a deep sense of meaning show lower inflammation and longer telomeres. Yet the ancients sensed this truth without microscopes. Epictetus told his students the philosopher is sent as a messenger of good news. A messenger cannot afford to look weary. He must embody the hope he announces. Consider Mother Teresa. Though physically small and financially poor, she radiated an almost electric serenity well into her later years. She described her work not as heroic, but as obedience to an inner voice. Likewise, when you treat daily tasks as sacred assignments rather than burdens, stress hormones plunge, the brow lifts, and the eyes regain their childhood sparkle. Furthermore, living for a higher calling simplifies decision-making. You ask, does this action serve the mission? If yes, proceed. If no, release. That clarity spares you from decision fatigue. One of the hidden thieves of vitality, Seneca observed, he who has a why can bear almost any how. Remarkably, bearing life's hows without complaint keeps the body from collapsing under them. And very soon after you orient around purpose, others sense it. They come to you for counsel, for comfort, for courage. Their respect feeds your spirit, which in turn feeds your cells. Energy moves outward, returns amplified, and coats you in an aura of quiet authority. Out of nowhere, even mundane errands become extensions of a larger mission, and time bends to accommodate a life so focused. Finally, remember this. Purpose is not a destination, it is a daily direction. Begin each morning with a single Stoic prompt. What duty calls me today? Then act with resolve and gentleness. Do that, and people will keep asking how you stay so young, not realizing the answer is invisible. Anchor deep inside the mission you serve. Number 9, you live with a sense of wonder. There's a kind of youth that doesn't come from treatments or routines. It comes from curiosity, from awe, from the ability to look at the world, not through the tired eyes of cynicism, but through the bright, open eyes of a child who still sees magic in the ordinary. The Stoics taught presence not as escapism, but as sacred attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them." Wonder to the Stoic was not weakness. It was wisdom. It was the recognition that even in a broken world, beauty persists, and we are part of it. You see, the person who maintains a sense of wonder doesn't freeze time. They deepen it. A single moment becomes wide enough to hold gratitude, meaning, and joy, And that depth shows in their expression. Their smile isn't forced. Their gaze lingers. They speak slowly, savoring words like they savor sunsets. Let's take Robin Williams. Behind the humor was a man constantly noticing, observing, finding magic in people and moments most others would miss. His energy, no matter how complex, always felt alive, fresh, spontaneous, because he never stopped looking. And that attention, that raw engagement with life, preserved something childlike within him. Moreover, the science supports what the spirit already knows. Studies show that awe boosts immune function, reduces stress, and increases life satisfaction. It enhances memory, creativity, and even cardiovascular health. But beyond the research, the effect is visible. People who live with wonder have a softness around the eyes, a glow, not because life has been easy, but because they chose to keep their heart open, even when it hurt. Importantly, wonder is a choice. It's stopping to smell the orange before peeling it. It's noticing the shadow play on the wall. It's letting music move you, even if no one else is listening. It's not about being naive. It's about being awake. Awake to the gift of now. Awake to the fact that nothing is guaranteed and everything is precious. Seneca said, "As is a tale, so is life." Not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. Wonder makes life good, not perfect, not painless, but profoundly worth living. And very soon after you begin to live that way, something changes. You become magnetic, not through effort, but through presence. People are drawn to your joy, your openness, your spark. So if you still find yourself pausing to watch the rain, or feeling lifted by the sound of birds in the morning, don't underestimate that. That wonder is medicine. It stretches time, it calms the nerves, and without even trying, it makes you glow. Because when you refuse to dull your senses to the beauty that still exists, you don't just grow wiser, you grow younger. So maybe looking younger isn't just about your DNA, your diet, or your skincare. Maybe it's about your soul, how you carry pain, how you choose peace, how you move through this world with purpose, clarity, and wonder. Each of these 9 spiritual traits is more than just a reason why time seems to leave you untouched. It's a reflection of how deeply you're living, how much you've healed, how quietly powerful you've become. The Stoics didn't chase youth, they chased truth. And what they discovered is something science is only beginning to confirm. When you align with your nature, when you let go of what you cannot control, when you lead with kindness, adapt with grace, and stay curious about life, you don't just protect your peace, you preserve your presence. And that presence is ageless. So if something in this video spoke to your experience, if you saw yourself in these qualities, take a moment to honor that. You've done the work, even if no one saw it. And the glow you carry, that's your reward. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. It's not just my face, it's my spirit. We'll see you in the next one. Stay radiant.